All right, so we're in March the 4th now, kind of wrapping up our equations unit this week. So we're on independent and dependent variables. So there's less work to show on these. There's a little bit towards the bottom. All right, so this graph shows the cost of admissions to the zoo based on the number of children. All right, so dependent would be the Y, independent is the X, right? So the Y depends on what the X is, right? So the cost in dollars depends on the number of children. So this is the dependent and this is the independent. Okay. So the dependent ones are going to be 12 right here, 16, 20, and 24. Okay. So the 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's the independent ones. Okay. Number 2, sell price of candy based on the original price. So the first thing you want to do is kind of look at your labels here, right? So we got this is the dependent and the independent. Okay, so it's kind of weird to think about the original price, the sell price, depending, but whatever, you just go with what the problem said, right? So the independent qualities that would be this. Okay, so those would be 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are right here. All right, the 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, that's the dependent quantities. Okay, so notice this is by half. So 1, 1.52. All right, number 3, the table shows the relationship between N, the number of ringtones, and C, the cost of the ringtones. So the X side, right? Remember the X is going to be the independent. Okay, so this is the independent and this is the dependent, right? So the cost depends on how many ringtones you get. So the independent quantities will be the 2, 3, 4, and 5. The dependent would be the 1.5, 2.25, and so forth. All right, number 4, the table shows Aaron's earnings for yesterday's dog walks. So we're looking for the what's true about it. Okay, so the X here, the Y here. So what you earn is dependent. So this is the dependent, and then this is the independent. Okay, so the total earned is a dependent quantity, and the walk time is independent. That's correct. The walk time and the total earned are both independent quantities. Nope. Walk time and the total earned are both dependent. Nope. And the total earned is independent and walk time is dependent. Nope. So those are reversed. All right. Number 5, here's a graph that shows some values for the number of cups of sugar S. All right, so there's the y-axis used to make X batches of brownies. So first we need to complete the table here. So notice here, these are by halves, right? They're not by wholes. So that means 1 batch of brownies is half a cup of sugar. 2 batches of brownies is 1 cup of sugar. And this is 3 halves or 1.5. Then the 4 batches of brownies takes 2 cups of sugar. This would be 2.5. Just check it here. So like 6 batches of brownies, 3 cups of sugar, like that. Okay. What does the 0.84 means in terms of the amount of sugar and the number of batches of brownies? So that means you need a sentence here. Okay, so 84 would be 8x 4y. So for 8 batches of brownies, all right, 4 cups of sugar are used. Okay, so that's B. So in this situation, the independent variable is the number of what, and then the dependent variable is the number of what. Okay, so the independent variable is the number of batches of brownies, and the dependent variable, so that's the y, it's going to be the number of cups of sugar. Okay. And Then write an equation that shows the amount of sugar in terms of the number of batches. I'm going to prefer it this way myself, but if you like the other way. So what's happening for the sugar? Well, basically the sugar is half as much as the brownies, right? If you look at like the 2 right here. So 2 sugar, 4 brownies, right? 1 sugar, 2 brownies. See that right there? Okay. So that means the amount of sugar is 1/2 times the number of batches of brownies, or that would be X, the number of batches of brownies divided by 2. So the 1/2 X or X divided by 2. Either way works. All right, and then number 6, there are 2 answers to the question. Tom's coach keeps track of the number of plays Tom carries the ball and how many yards he gains. All the statements about the independent and dependent variable. So if you think about it, this is X, Y like this. So the independent variable will be his carries, right? And then the dependent variable would be how many yards he gets. Okay, so let's see. The dependent variable is the number of plays he carries. No, that's the independent. That's what's controlled. Independent variable is the number of plays he carries the ball. Yes. Independent number, it has nothing to do with number of touchdowns. And then dependent variable is the number of yards he gains. Okay. And then dependent. All right. And then the last one, and this one does require some work. So we need to show the steps of the equation and the decimal operation. Okay. So y'all been losing points for not showing the decimal operations. That is one of the skills we have to work on in 6th grade. Okay, so this is divided by 4.5. That means divide. The opposite would be times 4.5. Okay, so we put that over 1. The 4.5s will cancel out. Okay, so we did times 4.5 over here. So we got to do times 4.5 over here. Okay, so that means n equals. So we have 10.35 times 4.5. You don't have to line up the decimal when multiplying. You just count the spots at the end. 15, that's 17. Then 0, 1, then 5. And now 4 times 5 is 20. 12, 14. And 4. So, good thing about doing one like this is that our answer will check itself in a way because it should be over 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the problem. So 1, 2, 3 in the answer. So that means it's going to be what? 46.575. Okay. And then we do see that answer right there. All right. And then I am going to check it. Okay. So 46.575 divided by 4.5. So 46.575 divided by 4.5. Move the decimal over 1 to the end on the outside and do the same on the inside. That's the decimal division rule. Okay, then bring the decimal straight up. 45 goes into 46 one time. That's not that bad. Okay, bring down the 5. 45 does not go into 15. Okay, 45, 90, that's going to be 45 times 3. Sorry, 45 times 3. All right, it's 135. Okay, so that's 22. And then 225. And we're hoping that that's going to be what? A 5, I think. All right, so 45 times 5 is indeed 225. Okay, so that's good. All right, so that is our answer. Make sure you got the work on this one especially, and get your work turned in.